1. Nailed it.
Hi, everybody. Konnichiwa, right? Welcome to episode 11 of Four Weebs, that anime podcast. My name's Liam, and I'm the host this week. And this is a podcast where some of us watch a good anime, and then some of us watch a bad anime, and then we talk about it. So let's introduce ourselves. Becca, you go first.
Hi, my name's Becca. I just finished watching my anime, and I'm sleepy. So sleepy. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Oh god.
Oh,
no.
Leah, you're next.
My name is Leah, and my brain hurts.
Aww.
It's okay, Leah.
Why?
Good repair.
A mixture of a 12-hour day and some bad Japanese.
Oh.
That's about it.
You revealed it. I was gonna keep it a secret.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Ouch.
Say that one more time, Becca. I fucking dare you.
I'm waiting for
No,
Beta to
don't.
finish.
Me?
Beta.
Oh, I was waiting for somebody to cue me in.
Well, we
Hey,
just
go,
did.
Beta. You're
Dude, go.
I know. Hi, my name is Veda. I'm the quiet, sneaky one. I haven't done much today, so I don't have any cool stories.
Well, Domo arigato.
Stop saying arigato!
Anyways, so the
It's the
theme
only
for this
Japanese I
week
know.
was action, and the animes I picked were Code Geass, Lilu of the Rebellion, and
Lulu.
Sword Art Online II, also known as Sword Art Online 2.
I.
Yay.
I enjoyed that.
So,
Thanks.
let's talk about the bad one first, because why not? For the synopsis of this, I'm going to read a bit of the synopsis of the first Sword Art Online first. So, in the year 2022, virtual reality has progressed by leaps and bounds, and a massive online role-playing game called Sword Art Online, SAO for short, is launched. With the aid of nerve gear technology, players can control their avatars within the game using nothing but their own thoughts. And yeah, then stuff happens, and that's an anime that happened, and some people liked it, some people didn't. There's lots of
That was the
merchandise and
first
shit.
one.
Should we...
And then
We
Sword
should
Art-
note that what the shit that happens is they all get trapped in the game, so they can't go
Spoilers
back to
for
the real
anybody
world.
who
I was
hasn't
gonna
seen
hold back
SAO.
that
Okay,
spoiler,
anyone who
but
hasn't seen the first one, but
I
that's
guess
the
it happens
premise
in
of the
first
show.
episode, so.
Should we discuss
I know.
quickly the mulligan that we pulled last week? Where
Well, let's
I
talk
was-
about that at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll deal with that later.
And then Sword Art Online 2 takes place a year after the Sword Art Online incident.
So is it like Digimon?
I don't know. I haven't watched all of Sword Art Online.
Well-
The first one I've only seen like 2 episodes.
Because don't they get stuck in the Digimon world and then they get home? And
Well, that's what happens in the first one.
Ah.
I know.
Watch Digimon.
I
Well,
knew
I've
Leah
seen
and
the first
Veda
one.
had already seen the first one, so I made them watch the second one because I figured it would be a good one to discuss since it's fresher,
Yep.
etc. Anyways, discuss.
Okay, well, I'll just throw a spoiler warning out right now. But that said, this is titled for Sword Art Online
If you
2.
care
So
about Sword Art Online spoilers,
Don't
Just
listen to
stop
our
listening.
podcast.
Skip
Exactly.
it to the second half.
second half.
Come back after you've watched it.
Yeah,
So-
or that.
the main thing for Sword Art Online is, virtual reality. You can control your avatar with your brain, and then essentially what happens is the villain of the show gets everyone stuck in the game, so you can't return to your real body. Well, you're in your body, whatever. You can't go back to reality.
You're stuck in the
Um,
Matrix?
Your consciousness is stuck in the game.
Exactly.
So you're
Yeah.
stuck
So
in the
basically,
Matrix.
Basically.
and everyone is stuck there, and unless you can beat the boss of the game, that's it.
Oh.
You're stuck there, and you can die as
Yeah,
well.
if you die in the game, you die in
life.
real life.
Sounds like somebody ripped
They-
off the Matrix.
is that just because
Basically.
their brain gets zonked, or
It's like something
Yeah.
that I think they mentioned it was like microwaves, like fry your brain or something when you die in the game.
Mhm.
It was something like that.
Anyway, long story short, bigger spoiler is the main characters beat the game and they get out.
Dun dun.
in the first arc,
Well, now
anyway.
you've ruined that whole season.
I know.
I can
It's okay.
Honestly-
It's only the first 12 episodes.
Apparently,
Yeah.
it's not worth watching though.
No, not really.
Yeah, I'm sure Veda and I can have a full discussion on this before we even get in to season 2.
Seems like there's lots of
I know.
hype.
That was the problem
yeah.
with Sword Art, was there was so much hype, and I really loved, like, the first handful of episodes. Like, I actually have a poster that I got from an anime convention, and then you had just... they do, like, nothing with it, and you're like, oh,
Well,
that's
like,
really depressing.
Oh.
It's like they didn't give it the full potential of like the premise, because the premise is such a cool idea. You can go anywhere with that. It's a fucking video game, and then
Yeah.
they're just like, we'll just do the typical anime bullshit. Here you go.
So
Yeah,
what's
so,
kind
like-
of typical bullshit? Is it like harem
So-
bullshit or...
Oh my God, a
So
little bit.
basically, kind of. So in the first arc, you get all excited because they do all this like world building, and then they're like, you know, the villain traps them all in the game, and you're like, oh shit, like you're expecting the whole anime to be about them like living in this world and trying to get out, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the next episode, they like completely fast forward. All of a sudden, they're on like the last
Right.
dungeon level,
Oh.
defeating the boss.
Yeah, they
And,
skip
like-
all the good stuff.
But-
Yeah,
I want to see them trapped in
This
the
happens in the
game.
first one.
yeah. This is
It's
season
like-
1.
The first 12 episodes, not
Yeah.
even like a full like 25. It's
So
like 12.
the premise is they're stuck in the game, but the actual
And-
anime, they get out by like the third episode.
Not
No.
the third, like
Not the third.
by the end of the first arc, the first half of the first season.
So the 12 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a little bit after that, because I remember, it's been a while since I've seen the first season, but in the first arc, they go through fighting, and then it turns into this generic slice of life shit, where,
Oh my
like,
god, I hated that
where
so much.
the main character, Kirito, and Asuna, have this, like, romance, but not, like, quite romance, and then they end up having this, like, quote-unquote daughter who's just, like,
What?
a
Yeah, no, they do.
computer
It's-
generated
They're like, but
avatar.
they're like fucking
So
cooking for each other.
They
in
have like a
this
Mhm.
goddamn
Tamagotchi
video
pet?
game.
They have a Tamagotchi.
No,
pet together?
she's like a little girl, but she's not alive in reality.
essentially a
just
Tamagotchi.
there for the game.
Like,
Do they at least have
take
some,
care of
like-
her in
Well,
quotes.
she
Does it-
still like talks and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do they
do
at least have
Tamagotchis.
some like hot virtual porkage?
It's
No.
insinuated that they do it at one point, I think.
I just wanted to say
I
that
don't
sentence.
Remember?
This isn't Second Life, Liam. This is Sword Art Online 1.
Yeah, so anyway, then they're all sad when they have to, like, leave their, like, virtual daughter and, like, shit like that. And it's not even dramatic. It's, like, really dry.
Well, I mean, if I raised a Tamagotchi like I raised a child, I would be sad to lose it too.
Lose it after just a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like finding out it died because you took a shower or something. You feel bad about it.
Wait, did you have to...
Wow.
Are Tamagotchis the ones that you had to shake?
No.
No,
I don't
those
think
are
so.
the ones you just like fed them and cleaned up their poop.
And played with them.
You had
Yeah.
to play games with them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I had a Tamagotchi.
I had a Tamagotchi at some point.
so I'm not wrong in describing it as kind of like a Tamagotchi. Like, more going on, but
Well, they didn't have to feed it
Essentially.
or clean up after.
She was like a person, only she was just, like, completely, like,
made up.
made up avatar built into the game.
Yeah.
But,
Oh boy.
and then,
Was she the little fairy thing? Was
Yeah.
that her?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then what happens in the second half of the first season, which apparently I didn't even finish, as
I
I
did.
found out when starting out season 2.
hmm
So they end up out of that game,
They go into a different game.
but
called
Asuna,
AOL.
Asuna is like gets like, virtually kidnapped and stuck in this other game, which is in like this fairy realm.
Yep.
So of course,
This is still season 1,
this is still
Yeah,
season
this
1.
is.
so they just put him in a different game?
They just
Yeah.
completely shift the
They
plot.
rush
Like,
through everything,
They have no
And then-
concept besides people get stuck in games and then they get
Yeah.
out.
and
That's
then
They're
they
not
literally
get
really
it.
stuck. There's no, like, what are the words I'm looking for? There's no, like, penalty to them actually being stuck because they just eventually escape and then get stuck elsewhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the-
there's a
like-
little more
like there
build-up.
was a penalty because, like in the first one, I mean, they were
They
gonna
could
die.
Yeah.
But in the
But you
second
don't get
season,
to see any of that drama, like,
Arguably-
because they just skip to it, right? Like, to them
Yeah.
getting out. And then for the second arc, it's just Kirito trying to save Asuna from the fairy world, which there's a little more development. And then they throw in his little sister, like, being in love with him.
Oh yeah.
And, like, I don't
It
fucking
wouldn't be
know.
anime.
Nothing like a little
I
incest.
didn't finish it,
So
apparently.
this is just the first
Oh, there was
12
also-
episodes?
No, that's
No.
after
That's what
the
you've
full
watched
24.
now.
No.
That's still season 1.
Oh my
Season
God.
1 is a full 25 episodes, but the first 12 are the first arc in Sword Art Online, and the second 12 are the second arc in the Fairy Realm. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Where
It's all
do you
one
start
episode?
watching?
Okay.
But
You-
2 arcs.
Okay, guys. Episode, there's season 1, 25 episodes.
Yes.
It has part 1 and part 2.
Okay, cool.
Part 1, they're in Sword Art Online. It's like more just a fantasy realm.
Okay.
Like swords, shields.
Like World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Part 2 of season 1 is the Fairyland. Kirito is trying to, I butchered his name there, is trying to rescue his girlfriend.
And that's the one you watched, was the Fairyland one.
That was part 2 of season 1.
I'm so
What
confused.
We
What
watched
Veda and I
season
watched, which we'll just start talking about so we don't hurt people's brains,
I'm
is
already
Yeah,
there.
good idea.
Season 2.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
season 2 opens up. They're back in our world. They're living the life. They're in high school. They're all like, oh, I love you, but I miss our fictional daughter. Blah, blah, blah. And then...
Weren't they like fictionally together for like a year and a half or something?
Yeah. Yes. They were. Anywho.
This sounds like a
So-
huge mess.
It kind of is.
It kind of is, though. Anyway, so they're back in the real world. They're just living their lives.
Mhm.
And then, meanwhile, virtual gaming is still a thing.
Somehow.
Because
Yeah.
nobody's learned their lesson about how dangerous
No.
it is yet.
No.
So the premise of season 2 is there's a new MMO. It's like a gunfighting one. So kind of like, oh my god, Call of Duty MMO.
Or like Cock of Duty, right?
yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Good
And now
contribution,
there's a new
Liam.
villain
Solid.
there's a new villain who's discovered a way to once again kill people through the game.
Somehow.
So like if he shoots the avatar in your game, you die in real life too. So you're not stuck,
So,
but this
like-
guy has a way to kill you.
So like the Matrix again.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
So this association that you're kind of introduced to in the first season, doesn't really matter, is trying to get Kirito to like go into the game to like stop this guy, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Is my understanding based off the first
Yeah.
3 episodes.
Yeah.
Which sounds interesting, but I was bored as fuck.
Yeah, no. You think it would be, but I don't know. The stuff they did in the first 3 episodes wasn't interesting anyway, so
No.
it was more just like setup. They're like, here, we're setting up all this shit. Here's this character. We'll just spend 3 episodes introducing her. Ta-da!
Yeah, so there's this new character, and they're trying to make her all like, I have a dark past, I'm traumatized. Essentially, her and her mother were in a bank robbery when she was a kid,
Mhm.
and she ended up like grabbing the gun and like killing the robber.
She like shot him 3
I
times.
know. And so now she can't even look at a gun in real life or even like have someone like point their fingers at her like a gun, or else she like hyperventilates and has a shit fit.
So,
Which
goes
theoretically
into
is
shock.
fine if they didn't do it so obnoxiously.
Yeah.
But of course, she can play this online Call of Duty game and be like the baddest bitch around.
that makes no sense.
She's like in the top 3 or some shit like that.
That makes zero sense. She's traumatized
She's doing
by
it to
guns.
try and like
I know.
So she's going to go play with guns in this.
They try and play it off by telling, like, her best friend or whatever tells her to play the game, and then she was like, oh, I'll try it, because then it'll be,
Well-
like, some exposure therapy or something like that.
Maybe I'm making
That was
this
what she said.
Maybe I'm making this up, but I seem to remember reading an article where they said that like soldiers with PTSD, when they come back, sometimes playing video games can help them kind of customize themselves to like the regular world where they're not being shot at. Maybe I'm
Right.
making this up, but maybe that's what they're.
I feel like their
It's
logic
yeah.
with her is not wrong. She's just really freaking annoying.
Yeah.
I
There's
don't
that. I mean,
know,
it's
that's
not, like,
just me.
terrible, but I didn't like her character at all, so...
No, and I think, I mean, maybe this is just me, Beta. I think the whole thing with
Mhm.
Sword Art Online, when it first came out, the first season, I think I really liked it because that was when, like, a lot of those gaming animes just started to come out, and
It is
same
true.
with kind of the idea of, the whole death game, battle royale kind of idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Anime
It started
was
to get a
coming
little more
out.
popular.
Yeah, so like at the time I was a lot more like, invested. But after having seen like B-Tomb and Mirai Nikki and stuff like that, I'm like, don't really care anymore. And maybe it's because this season they're in like a shooting MMO, and I give no shits about war
Yeah, I
shooting
was kind of
games,
thinking the same thing.
that it just kind of bored me.
Yeah. And I was like, well, maybe it's not the MMO, but it's the way they're doing the shooting MMO. Like, because I don't, that doesn't usually interest me, but I'm like, if you could do it well, I would probably be interested enough to keep watching. But they just didn't do it well enough in the first 3 episodes for this.
Yeah.
Not for
I
me,
agree.
anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
The premise sounds kind of neat, like the first season. Like, I would be interested in seeing people stuck in a fantasy world trying to figure out how to get out.
And that's the thing, you're so excited at the start because you feel like that's
Yeah.
what it's going to be, and then they
Yeah.
just don't develop it any further, and you're like, oh,
Sounds like they kind of take
shit.
it off in a completely different direction than what
They
I would be interested
do.
in watching.
It was like they couldn't figure out what genre they wanted to go with, where they wanted it to be death game or action or
Why go with
slice
one
of
genre
life
when you can
or
go with
shoujo.
5 of them?
or harem.
I know that Sword Art was a light novel.
Yeah, it was.
So it wasn't like, a full like manga series or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like they still could have took it in a little more detailed direction.
I don't know how the light novel, I can't talk. Like if it's the same as the show was, or if they did it completely differently and the show was just like, well, we don't care about the source material. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So if anybody does know, let us
Yeah,
know.
I mean, a lot of people still really love the Sword Arts because, I mean, obviously, like, they're huge. I wouldn't even go to say, like, I disliked them.
No.
Like, they're good. You're just disappointed at the end because it could have been more.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an awful show. Like, I've definitely seen much worse.
It's just not very satisfying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Especially when they, like, give you that little, like, taste of what it could be, and then they don't do anything with it. Season 2 could be different. From what I've watched so far, it's not really keeping my attention.
No.
But it
So
could
would
get
you
better.
say that like all the problems with the first season are still there in season 2?
A little bit. They did like to do the kind of tonal shifting a bunch in like the first 3 episodes, because I don't know, they kept switching between, like, they would have Kirito and Asuna and like the fairy world MMO, and then they would like switch back, and then right after they did that, it was like, hey, now we're gonna focus on this really dark backstory of this character we just introduced and her traumatization of guns. How about that? And it's like super dark, and you're like, hey, what tone is this show even going for right now? Are they trying to be dark? Are they trying to be cutesy? I have no idea.
I feel like having, like, in the first 3 episodes, like, I'd be okay with that bit of a shift. I think I've just been left so jaded from the first season that I just probably won't watch the second, because I'm still just, like, hung up on, like, what the first season could have been like.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So...
even like the shooting MMO idea might be worthwhile, but if they fall
it
into the
could
same
be.
pitfalls or...
And
I
that's
mean,
the thing.
Yeah, like, to its credit, though, I mean, the first season, both of the games that they're kind of in are more, like, fantasy-related, right?
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to see them in more of an action, like, guns kind of game instead. Because they could hit on a few different things.
Exactly.
I
think it'll just depend how well they tie in this new girl to the rest of the group that's already been established from season 1.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a bit iffy at the start, anyway, for me, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really know.
It sounds like a royal piece of, I'm not going to watch this anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh, and then there was the thing in the first episode when Kirito and Asuna are talking on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that whole scene? And he's like going on about how I don't know. It felt like they were trying to go with a really like deep direction. With their, he's mentioning how the universe is just data, and what happens in the future when we create what if we create a virtual world that's so much like reality you can't even tell it apart? And I was like, please don't go there.
I know,
That is
me
much
too.
too deep for this show. This show
It's
is
too
way
deep
too
and
light.
like too much like reality. He's like, because he's talking about how he wants to be a programmer,
Yes.
and he's like, yeah, one day we'll just like the whole world essentially could like you won't be able to tell the difference between what's real and what's not, and that
Yeah.
you can like touch something and it could be virtual, but you think it's real, and I'm just like, fuck that. That's
I know.
horrifying. That's how the world ends.
That
That's
sounds like
But it was
scary.
like way too deep for this type of show. I was like, this is
But
no,
that's
don't
the
go
thing,
there.
Becca, is
yeah,
they'll probably just touch on it for like that one conversation, and then nothing. Like the
Yeah.
show will not be about that.
I would argue it's an interesting premise to like explore, but
Oh God,
it
yeah.
doesn't sound like this show really. I don't know. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to like.
yeah.
Because it's like the show shouldn't be able, like, it can't handle that kind of deep sort of world commentary of sci-fi kind of stuff. It can't do
Which
it.
I
And
think
was
is
like,
what it's tried to do, and it hasn't done very
just
well
sort
at.
of kind of flopped a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Yeah.
The good old
I-
technology question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, on a basic level, the show does do a good job on like analyzing like reality versus virtual reality and that sort of thing, but then it kind of gets stuck on some of the more like typical things you see in anime and kind of like leaves it on a really basic level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine if that's
Did you ever
all you're in for.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm good.
I was my comment isn't that important, but I was gonna mention. Did you ever get to that part in the first season? I think it's in the second half of the first season where there's like that octopus tentacle monster or whatever.
No.
Asuna
my
tries
God.
to escape from the fairy dude, and this like octopus monster or whatever shows up, and it's just like, well, this just got really awkward because it's not like pornographic or anything, but it's like clearly very fan servicey, and you're just like, oh, good lord.
Yeah, the first part of the first season wasn't very fan servicey until they like bring in his little sister and shit, and then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and then they started adding like more women, and you're like, hey, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Well, in order to have a harem, you must have many women.
Yes, that is very true.
This is true.
Well said, Becca.
Anyway,
Mm.
I'm sure Veda and I could talk about sword art in general for a while, as could many people, but for
Yeah.
just season 2, based off the 3 episodes, I'm not going to keep watching it. There's obviously a reason I didn't even finish season 1, apparently.
I
Because I started
managed
watching
to
the
get
first 3
through it.
episodes, and I was like, I missed something.
Oh,
Definitely
boy.
missed something.
I managed to get through the first season only because I was like, I started watching this, I should finish this season.
That's good work ethic,
Yeah.
though, Veda. I feel
Oh,
like
thanks.
that's excellent. But
Gold star.
sometimes you just need to know when you're wasting your time.
Yeah, I know. I'd already gotten like most of the way through it though before I was like, this is so
Yeah.
pointless. So
At
it's
that
like,
point, it's
oh
like,
fuck.
I may as well finish it at least, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the first 3 episodes of
say that
Sword
about
Art, like
Pupa.
2.
I didn't finish that.
I still have to go back and finish Pupa, but I plan on finishing it one day.
Still have to finish Kill la Kill.
Yeah, that too. There's a lot of things I
Wow.
need to finish.
The
Fuck, what was that
bitterness.
other one that we watched the other week?
Shinsekai Yori.
Yeah, the one that I really, really loved. I watched
Mhm.
more of that, and it's gotten weird.
Weird is
So,
sometimes
Good weird
though.
or bad weird, though?
not the way I was expecting them to go with it weird. Like, I thought, I don't know, it's like the 4th episode hits and they explain a bunch of stuff, and everything that you've kind of assumed is different,
Mm.
or not what you've assumed, so I don't
So you're
know.
not sure what to feel.
I feel like the first 3 episodes were so good, and then it feels like the 4th episode hits, and I'm just like, wait, what happened? Like, did they fire everybody and bring in a whole new staff? That's
Oh god.
You just got a
That's not
confused
good.
boner.
Yeah, a little bit. I always have a confused boner, but
Fair enough.
anyway.
You gotta do what you can with that.
Is Sword Art
Right.
Online, that isn't the one that Netflix produced. They produced something
No,
else.
no.
Netflix produced Knights of Sidonia,
Yeah.
but that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
CG anime.
I still haven't watched the second season of that.
Oh, it's good, but fan servicey, but that's what's good about it.
Oh dear.
It's like still got the fun mecha stuff, but then like just weird fan servicey stuff that gets like really weird.
Really?
Like weird for fan service.
Netflix trying
Well,
to.
now I'm kind of
to-
intrigued.
Yeah, no, you should. Yeah,
Can you give
do
an
it.
example?
I will get there.
Do it.
Because I
Well,
I
Becca
will.
wants to make her confused
Okay.
boner into a good one.
Okay.
I want to know what confusing fan service is because
We've already sidetracked enough on this episode, but I'll explain the confusing fan service because
Yes,
it's
please.
pretty. So
Go.
it's a mecha anime, right? So
Yes.
then
Yep.
they introduce this character in the new season that it's like this alien hybrid thing that is like the size of a mecha and like is a mecha. It's just organic, but it talks with like this little lolly schoolgirl voice.
Yeah, I got to there.
And and when they're not like out in space piloting mecha, so when they're out in space piloting mecha, she can hang out with her friends.
as a giant
And then when they're
organic
like
mecha?
when they're in the
Yes.
space station, she just sends these like tentacles like through the air ducts, and the tentacles just like hang out with people. And the tentacle is just like this big pink thing with two arms that are also
Yep.
tentacles, and it's got this little like anus for a mouth. And the tentacle it becomes part of the harem.
So the
Oh,
important
God.
question is, does she look phallic when she's in this tentacle form?
No, it's just like a smooth pink tentacle.
Well, an ass
But
for
it's
a
a
mouth
little
is pretty-
tentacle that has like a lolly schoolgirl voice that has like a crush on the protagonist.
I don't. Maybe it's just because my mind's consistently in the gutter, but I'm imagining it basically being like a giant penis without the detail.
I knew that's where you were going with
And,
that.
like-
Really?
And,
I
like,
don't know. Liam just says like an asshole for a mouth, and I'm just
Yeah.
picturing like a giant butt with arms. I don't know.
I don't.
No, there's still like a lot of other fan servicey stuff aside from that, but that's like the weirdest part.
There's just so many ways. to
Would
say
recommend.
tentacles.
Good fap.
That's all I need to know.
10 out of 10.
Becca's
All
like,
right,
come on,
well-
let's finish up this
Wait.
episode already.
I
so
don't
can
have
watch-
anything. I don't have anything else to say about
I was-
Sword Art Online the second season. I
You
could talk
guys
more
are
about
not
the first
going
one,
to
but
continue
it's
watching.
good.
So yeah, final
Probably
thoughts.
I was gonna say, I was bored. I don't think I will continue watching. There you go.
I was
Me
really
too.
hoping
Bored,
you'd
not
say-
worth it.
Nah.
Damn it.
I mean, maybe if you really liked the first season, you would like the second one, but not for me.
Yeah, like I'm not like saying, "Oh my god, Sword Art is shit." And whoever likes it is dumb. Like, of course not. Like,
Oh,
I would
no,
still
no.
call it like a good anime.
Hmm.
Like
Well, see, like I
worth
really
watching
like
as long as you just go in not getting like your hopes really high up. Is what I
I
have to
don't
say.
know if I'd call it good.
Well, it's not bad. It's
It's
an
not
okay anime.
awful,
no,
but
this-
it's like maybe like a guilty pleasure. I don't know.
This is a good distinction. Is it actually good or is it bad but pleasurable to watch? And I think being a guilty pleasure is an acceptable way to say that it's bad but still watchable.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah,
go.
like I feel like
Figured it out.
Sword Art's one of those animes where like I totally understand, like you just said, if people enjoy watching it and they think it's good, then awesome. But if you sit there and kind of like analyze it and the structure of the anime, no, it's not a good anime in my mind anyway. But
Aw, well, tough luck for Sword Art
this is also
Online.
me looking at the Sword Art poster I still have on my wall. But that's because it's a pretty poster, and I bought it while I was still ignorant.
Things can
The
be
art is
pretty
pretty
and still
decent,
shitty. You know,
I mean, the
like
character
This is
designs
true.
are kind of bleh.
like diamonds are pretty awesome to look at, but they don't do much. So, yeah,
Truth.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay, guys, tell us
Big
about the
bad
good
truth.
anime.
Go. Talk about Code Geass.
Okay.
Oh, I fucking love this show.
Yeah, me too.
I like it too. So let's get to the synopsis here.
Yes.
So, on August 10th of the year 2010, the Holy Empire of Britannia began a campaign of conquest, its sights set on Japan. Operations were completed in 1 month thanks to Britannia's deployment of new mobile humanoid armor vehicles dubbed Nightmare Frames, which I like to call rollerblade mechas.
Yep.
Japan's rights and identity were stripped away, the once proud nation now referred to as Area 11. Its
Like in the
citizens...
Hunger Games.
Its citizens, 11s, are forced to scratch out a living while the Britannian aristocracy lives comfortably within their settlements. Pockets of resistance appear throughout Area 11, working towards independence for Japan. Lulu, an exiled Imperial Prince of Britannia posing as a student, finds himself in the heart of the ongoing conflict for the island nation. Through a chance meeting with a mysterious girl, Lulu gains his... Every time, like, I can say Lulu, but then when you see it written out, you're like, Lelouch?
It is Lelouch.
Gains his
Let's just call him
Geass, the
Luchador.
power of the king, now endowed with absolute dominance over any person. Lulu may finally realize his goal of bringing down Britannia from within. Okay.
Dun dun.
So, spoiler alert, I've watched more than 3 episodes.
Because it's amazing.
It's so good.
And this
Although I
anime's
sense
been
some
pretty-
disdain from Becca's.
I
this
know,
anime's been
Becca.
pretty hyped up to me, to be fair.
That's
Hey,
true. I'm sorry.
I said that. I said that to Veda. I was like, I feel like Becca's gonna come back and be like, wasn't that
did.
great?
Yeah, you did.
Because, but I did the same thing when I first started watching it. It actually took me a couple times to actually get into this anime. I watched a couple episodes and then had a hard time.
Let's just
And then
say,
fucking loved it.
let's just say I have some thoughts, and I'm probably not going to agree with everybody completely.
That's okay. It's good to have discussion.
I know. So, should we do our first thoughts, Liam?
Initial
Yeah.
thoughts.
How
Go,
about
go.
you go first?
No, well, okay.
Before she crushes your soul.
Here we go. Initial
go
thoughts. I'm not a huge fan of the character design, but the epic story is pretty great. Like the whole like kind of World War III and just like nationalism is pretty sweet. And like some of the character design stuff I don't mind, like the costumes and the way the mechas look. I'm a little annoyed at like the rollerblade mechas. Just like the way they have it designed is
Yes.
something that would
Yeah.
like, not move at all. Like all they need to do is just add another wheel and then it's more believable.
Well,
But it's still
for
like
the-
a cool idea, and I guess they're just embracing that. Like, let's just do whatever we want. Like it's not real, it doesn't matter.
It's an animation. Everything.
Yeah,
works.
so
I
for the
really like-
listeners to know, this is a clamp anime. So
Yes.
like Tsubasa, Card Captors.
Well, actually, it's only designed
Exaholic.
by Clamp, but the
Well, yeah,
story
designed
is
by Clamp,
Sunrise.
yeah, but just for the animation style, like that really
Yeah.
long limbs, like really long big eyes.
Everything really pretty and shiny and
yeah,
clean
it's-
and crisp.
Yeah,
it's
the
pretty
characters.
obvious it's a Clamp
Yeah.
animation.
Their
Just
style
so people are aware.
quite
It's pretty
distinct.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It takes
So I
a bit
like-
of getting used to.
It's not that I dislike the character design. It's just like I prefer other things, more
That's fair.
realistic stuff, I guess. But you know, it's a mecha anime, so it's okay for it to be pretty over the top. And the story is, you know, really epic and over the top, and the characters are super dramatic and stuff.
Mhm.
But they do have like decent amounts of comic relief. So it's a very enjoyable show to watch, and those are my initial impressions.
Okay, Becca.
Okay, so, like I said before, I watched this, like, just before we started podcasting. Like, I watched my 3 episodes and finished at 10:03, and then we started podcasting at 10:10 or so. So it's all pretty fresh, but also a little bit mix-moshy in my head. Initial thoughts, it wasn't my favorite. I missed a lot of I don't know how. I suspect maybe the version that I procured via the internet is maybe not the best subtitles. There was definitely a couple that I read that I was like, that doesn't make any grammatical sense, and that's the wrong word to be in that sentence. So I feel like there's maybe some information that got dropped. For instance, I didn't know that Lelouchador is the prince.
The Luchador?
Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but...
Well, that doesn't get revealed. I don't remember when that gets revealed, actually.
See, now that makes everything so confusing, because I'm like, I don't know who the hell this kid is. Like, it just seems like he jumps into the action really, really quickly with zero explanation for what's happening. Here's my initial thoughts. I'm not going to watch this again. I really like the Clamp style, but the first 3 episodes had me so just like, what the fuck is going on, that it really turned me off.
Which is too bad, though.
I didn't
Because, like I
get-
was saying, I had the same thing. I watched the first episode a couple times and just couldn't do it because I was kind of the same way. I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
And then I was really happy. I like forced myself through because I just thought it was really good.
Yeah.
But that said, it's probably too pumped up for you now, and you'll be like, "No, this sucks.
Maybe.
Well,
Everyone's wrong."
and I'm trying not to be, like, disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing. Like I said, I really love the Clamp art style. I really like a lot of what they do. The characters seem interesting. I really like that we're kind of following what's kind of being set up as sort of the villain. I find that interesting.
It's like, yeah.
But
He's a bit of an anti-hero, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just
right
that
word.
the first
I
two
don't know if
episodes,
anti-hero is the right word
Yeah,
for
not
him,
quite.
but it's
yeah,
more
but he's
it's more
not-
like just a tragic hero, I guess.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
he seems like he's being set up to be like kind of the negative, going against the status quo, but everyone should be cheering for him. Like you kind of, what am I trying to say? There's just, I'm not a big mecha fan to begin with, so that kind of like kills my boner a bit.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
too bad because there's
fair.
some real good mecha fights
See,
and
and
mecha
I
action.
found the mecha action in the first two episodes really confusing and kind of overwhelming. I also, something that, like, I realize it's an animation, so everyone can be whatever race they want to be, but it's really confusing when the whole storyline is based on, like, one group of people taking over another group of people, but there's no, like, distinguishing factors. So
Oh,
I'm kind of like,
That's fair.
I don't know.
I started to pick up more on the
Yeah,
distinguishing factors as I watched more.
by the
But
third
yeah, I
episode-
get what you mean.
by the third episode, I was starting to pick out, like, who's on what side, but the first two episodes, I was like, I don't know who any of these people are, and I don't know who's supposed to be a bad guy and who's supposed to be a good guy, or everybody good guys, and it's just one guy.
In all
against the bad.
fairness,
Like,
that's kind of the point of Code Geass, though.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
well,
true.
It's kind of conflicting because there's things Lelouch does that you agree with and you don't agree with.
yeah.
And the same thing with the people he's fighting against. Like, it's kind of
Yeah, well,
interesting in a way because it's more of, like, realistic in a way because,
Yeah.
you're not going to agree with everything. And he's not just, like, a straight across the board hero kind of thing.
well, and I'm just referring just specifically for understanding who's working against who. Like, I understand
No,
the
that's
mechs
fair.
are color-coded, that's all good. It's just, like, there's a bunch of people that are dressed up really fancy, and they're supposed to be on one side, but then there's a bunch of other people dressed up really fancy that's similar to the first people, but they're on the other side, but then everybody's... I don't know, I was just... I was so confused what was happening and who was working against who, and then the chick shows up in the straitjacket and gives the
Right.
luchador his fancy power, which is all great and cool. Like, I was down for that. I was like, that's neat. Let's watch that. And I don't know. It was too all over the place in the first three episodes. And I understand that they're trying to, like, hit the ground running and get people into it right away. But for me, it was just a little too fast. Just a little
Too fast, too furious.
too fast,
That
too
makes
furious, and not enough information. Like,
Do you think that maybe if you'd watched the dub, it would have helped a little bit?
Yeah, I did watch the dub for that.
The dub is pretty good actually for Code Geass.
perhaps, like I said, I kind of I'm side-eyeing, like, the subtitles that I received with it. Like I said, when it's like, how about we give him a chocolate stick? I'm like, shouldn't that be barred?
Oh, that's bad.
Or something like that. Like, and it wasn't all the time. It was just a couple, and, like, otherwise it looked good. I don't know.
Weird.
It'd be interesting for you to go back
Where,
and see if it made a big difference, though.
Yeah. Where did you find this episode with strange subtitles?
I don't want to incriminate myself, but let's just say I stole it off the
Oh.
internet.
Right. Okay. That's
Well,
yeah.
that settles that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like I said, everything looks good. Like, it all looks very well done.
Yeah.
It might just be... I might be wrong. It might just be my brain being like, that word doesn't make sense, when it actually makes complete sense. I'm just not following close enough, but...
Yeah.
Like I said, like, just even finding out that the one guy's, like, a prince, that clears up
Yeah.
a lot of things that I was
Yeah,
so
and
confused about.
that's yeah.
And
That's
I think
kind of
that's where it gets kinda
maybe if
hard.
you'd seen the dub,
yeah.
it would have helped a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that you should go back and watch it all in the dub, like, because if you don't want to, don't. But yeah, maybe it would help just because then
Well, and
there's no
Well, that
like
might be where it gets hard when we only watch the first 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
Liam, having watched a little more, can say, he's clearer on it now.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
also hard to say because
I
you
cheated.
didn't get the best sub.
Well, and like,
version.
there's been so many people that have said it's really good. I want to give Liam time to discuss some stuff too, but there's been so many people saying it's really, really good, and, like, you just got to get into it. And I'm just like, I have enough things on my plate that if this doesn't get me within 3 episodes, I don't think I want to like, pursue it further. Because there's other good things that I could be watching that I know I'm actually going to enjoy. So,
that's totally fine.
Liam, do you want to say things now?
Sure, I guess.
Comments.
Come
You
back
just
here.
put it all down now. What's the point?
Just
Aw.
come back.
There's
Liam.
lots of things to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know, like any good mecha anime, like the mechs can be cool and the mech fights can look like however, but if the story and characters aren't good, it's not really a good mecha anime. And probably the strongest part about Code Geass is the story and characters. It's kind of like the mecha is just like a nice the icing on the cake, I guess.
Yeah, when I think of
Yeah.
Code Geass, I don't think about the mechas. I kind of forget it's a mecha anime, to be honest.
Like
Sometimes.
Yeah, the mecha are just like they're definitely like more in the background in the beginning, with the exception of the Lancelot, which is like the new shiny mecha. But then like at the point I'm at in the second season, there's like a lot more of those special unique mechas that are super powered, I guess.
Whew,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
made it to the second season already. Someone liked it.
Yeah, I was supposed to watch 3 episodes and I watched 30.
Above and beyond.
Well, I mean, this was pretty hyped up, and spoiler alert, I wanted to watch Brenna's AMV, and she was like, you can't watch it until you finish season 1 because of spoilers.
Yeah.
And now that I've seen the AMV, I'm like, yep, those were pretty big spoilers.
Oh, that show has got some big spoilers
What
in
kind
it.
of
That we will
spoilers?
not.
Yeah.
Well, we won't
Oh,
ruin them.
that's-
We're not going to
because
tell anyone.
you want to
The
find out,
story-
Becca, you gotta force yourself to keep watching.
The
Or
story
use the-
gets to, like, just really, really high stakes, especially towards the end of the first
Really
season.
dramatic.
It definitely
Oh, yeah.
feels like there's a lot of high stakes already going on, and like it's really politically driven. And maybe that's
Yeah.
it, where like I can sit and watch a political thriller, but they throw like maybe it would have even been more engaging if they didn't start off with a big mech fight. Like maybe if the
It
first
could just be you're not huge on
I don't
mechs.
think they
I don't
started
know.
off with a big, huge mech fight.
well, like
though.
that's the focus though, is like the whole invasion, right? And where they're
Yeah, but they
trying
don't
to-
focus that much on
But if
mechs.
you're someone who's not huge on mechs, it might seem that way, right?
Yeah,
Whereas
like,
if you're someone who
that's-
enjoys it, you're like, oh yeah, give me more of that.
Like, I almost would have preferred if the first episode was them setting up a few of the relationships, and then this huge mech fight thing happens, and I have just a better understanding of who the characters are in general going into it, or their personalities, or how they deal with people. Like, I feel like there's probably a really sudden shift made in Lelouch's personality when he receives that power, but I don't know him prior to that, so for me it's just like, oh, he's still, like, that's the person
I don't
he
know.
is.
I really like Lelouch's character just because he's got like such powerful conviction. Like even before he gets his special power, there's the flashbacks of him when he's a kid, and he's just like, so passionate that he wants to just destroy
Yeah.
Britannia, and then he gets
Yeah.
the power, and he immediately right away he's like,
Yeah.
straight up murdering lots of people.
Yeah.
And
Which I
like
always
And-
thought was kind of refreshing, because
You
they
know-
don't. It's not him just like being like
I
all
don't
conflicted,
Well,
like,
and
oh,
they
I
don't-
don't want to.
They don't show that
Just
he's
gets down to it.
completely. They don't show that he's completely cold. They
No.
show that like
This is
you know
what
he is
believes,
he
yeah.
is a little shocked by like these deaths and stuff they pulls off, but then he's like, no, it's what I have to do, and even
Yeah.
and like he understands that what he has to do, not everyone will like, and it'll feel like the
agree
wrong
with.
thing sometimes, but
Yeah,
But
he'll
and-
someone's
he'll
gotta
do
do
it
it.
anyways because
Yeah.
he's
That's
a
a good
fucking
point.
badass.
and I did really like his character. Like he was a nice, refreshing change. Like Leah said, he doesn't come in and he's all conflicted and like sad about it. It's nice that he follows his convictions, and that was good.
Yeah.
It's just
And
the
it was a
overall
little-
presentation I had an issue with, I think.
And every couple episodes or so, they have the typical high school
life.
comic relief episode, which I'm not super hot on, but I was more or less okay with it, just because there has to be comic relief put in somewhere,
Well,
and
I
it
think
is an anime.
and it brings in a little bit of Lelouch's humanity back.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
just
Yeah.
found it was such a like
They're cute.
between like episode 1 and 2 being the big like siege on the ghettos, and then episode 3 being mainly focused on the high school, it almost felt like too radical of a change.
That's
Like I
fair.
said, it might have just been for myself personally, and this isn't to say for everybody, but for me personally, it would have been easier to ease me into it if the high school episode had happened first, and then episodes 1 and 2. So, like I said, you have a better idea of who the people are, and then there's you're just a bit more invested in the characters when suddenly he's killing people with like no regard.
Yeah.
he
I
comes
kind of
off-
feel the opposite way.
Yeah,
If the high school episode would have been first, that would have kind of turned me away from it.
yeah,
I think it's preference, right?
yeah, and that's all it is. Like I said, that's for me specifically. Maybe for other people, probably not for other people. To be honest, like a lot of people like this anime, and I feel like I'm kind of just wasn't quite for me. And that's okay.
That's why we talk
Hey,
about it.
There's an
Yeah.
episode where they chase a cat for like the second half of the
That's
entire
true.
Did they
episode.
chase the
That
cat with
episode
the
is
mecha?
hilarious.
No,
Hmm.
it's just like a goofy cat chase.
Well, I do like cats.
Isn't
so-
there like a giant pizza involved in that
There
episode?
are
or something?
multiple
Yeah.
giant.
There's
There's
a
a
different-
shitload
yeah.
of Pizza Hut product placement.
Oh yeah.
real?
Every single
Yeah,
school
for real.
club gathering, every like time someone is like, eating dinner, it's like there's a box of Pizza Hut
Like
there,
Pizza
and
Pizza
they're
And
like,
Hut.
I'm
it's
eating.
not like
Yeah.
rip-off Pizza Hut. It's like actual Pizza Hut product placement.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
So that's kind of funny. Like it's not that bad because it doesn't happen super often.
No.
But, like there's a very strong emphasis on pizza,
Well, pizza's
Yep.
pretty great.
especially like from
love
characters you
pizza.
wouldn't expect it from. There's a very strong love of pizza.
Well, god damn it! Now I feel like I have to go watch more.
Just for those
Stop
For the
episodes.
pizza and the cats.
Hail to pizza.
The cat's a recurring character as well.
Yeah, he is.
Pizza,
Gosh.
cats, mechas.
What more do I need? Well, the mechas, but
Politicalness.
what
Yeah.
more do I need?
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, I tend to like shows where the characters are a little more deep than just stereotypes, and it feels like that's what they're pushing for. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, they get there.
It just,
Oh, yeah.
like I said, the first couple episodes, I just felt so confused, and I was like, I just want
It's okay.
something easy to watch. I just want to be able to like let my eyes glaze over a little bit, and it didn't.
And to
Well,
be
I
fair, I
think it's
felt a
hard
little
too when it-
confused too, but
When it's built up for you.
It does
I kinda
jump
had
Go
to,
in
in
with
like-
expectations.
I kind of had to say to
Yeah.
myself, I'm like, well, I mean, you can't be expected to understand every anime after the third episode, so
Yeah.
or every show in general.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to try to not be like, I'm confused, because they're trying to foreshadow later on. I just feel like I needed just like that one more piece of information for a lot of it to make sense about why things were happening. And, I mean, maybe I missed it with the subtitles. Occasionally they flash really quick. I don't know. It's been a busy day. I don't
Okay.
have-
We're not
It's like
getting
you need
mad
a
at you.
chocolate
It's okay
stick.
if you didn't like it. or,
chocolate
you know.
sticks. Yeah.
It's all good.
It's really pretty.
Mhm.
I think Clamp's style is really beautiful, so.
Yeah, Clamp
Holic
Style
is one of
came
my,
on
like-
a little bit.
Holic is one of my favorite
Mhm.
visual animes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Holic's nice. I like
It's just
that show.
nice. It's good.
They're just really good at what they do. Those
It's
Holic a
Clamps.
studio.
Hmm?
Is Holic a studio?
No, that's
or-
one of the
That's the
Clamp's
TV
other
it's the show.
animes.
XXX
and mangas.
Holic.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen
Yeah.
that one.
Maybe I'll make you guys watch it and see what you think.
Mm.
I have watched part of that one. That one's a little more.
Liam and Veda can watch it.
Yeah.
I watched it and I read the manga.
Oh, well, fuck Veda, come on.
Sorry. Sorry.
Veda, you make things so hard.
You're supposed
Veda
to
is
lie.
Sorry. Oh, I was supposed to lie. Shit.
Hey guys,
Or be-
final thoughts on Code Geass.
I'm gonna finish watching it.
Yes.
You're almost done. Keep
I'm
going,
excited
man.
Yeah.
to see.
How
what's
many-
Or-
gonna happen.
How
Oh,
many
I
do you
have.
left? Like
Oh.
10?
I have like over a dozen left still, so
Oh.
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not gonna
It's good,
finish it
though.
this week or anything.
The ending is really good.
Well, that's
There's more to the end than you think, Liam. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's
Warning,
so much.
okay.
There's so much like cryptic stuff still.
I'd
I don't
to,
know where it's gonna go.
I'd love to come back and have an episode and discuss the end of Code Geass, actually.
We'll do that later.
Yeah,
Or we could just do it in real life.
that's true.
That's
Can
true.
bring other people into the
Or we
conversation.
can do it
That's
as a
true.
podcast
Bring Brenna.
and bring people in. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Final thoughts.
It
Right.
wasn't really for me. I mean, with so many people saying that it's good and like trusted people saying it's good, I feel like I almost owe it another couple episodes to see where it goes, but that's not going to be any time in the very near future. Maybe down the road. Maybe if I find a better dub or a better sub, then that might also change my feelings. But until then, if you like things that I like, this probably isn't for you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dun, dun,
Well,
dun.
that's pretty much ends the discussion. I guess we'll briefly touch on. Well, I guess we'll touch briefly on the rules for how the next anime gets watched and shit.
Mhm.
So whoever got the red marble last week, which was Becca,
Yay.
gets to pick the animes watched for the week after this week, the week that we're recording in right now. And
Woo.
we decide who watches what by drawing marbles.
Mhm.
So if you get a white marble, you get to watch the good anime. If you get a red marble, you get to watch the bad anime, but you also get a pick for the week after, and you get to pick who gets to watch the bad anime with you.
You have all the power if you're the red
Wow.
marble.
And I guess if you're listening to this episode, you probably know what happened last episode. But last episode, I was picking, and it was getting real confusing because I had stuff lined up, but people had already seen this and that. And we just decided, it's like, hey, let's just
Mulligan this shit.
let's just say that you got this marble,
Yeah.
and then me and Becca can watch Code Geass, because Leah and Veda have already watched it, and then you guys can watch Sword Art Online 2, because you've both already seen Sword Art Online 1, and everything will just be easy and convenient.
Yeah, it just worked
Yeah.
out much better to mulligan it a bit. And
Because this is our podcast,
and
and
we do
We
what
do what we want.
we make the rules, bitch.
Yeah.
Bitches.
So as a response to that, I am definitely watching the shitty anime this week to make up for it, and we're going to draw marbles to see who's the other crappy person.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
all right, I'm gonna take one of the shitty marbles out. That's our marble machine.
Dun
So
dun.
who's going first?
Me.
Beta?
Yeah.
You got the red marble.
Oh.
You're lucky.
I'm lucky.
Yeah,
Right off the bat.
right off the bat.
Ah.
You save everyone else problems.
Yay.
Eh,
I'm scared.
Just be
Becca.
happy I don't have the red marble, because everyone hates
Oh,
when I
God.
get the red marble.
that's because
So-
you're brutal.
So
Yeah, that's
Veda,
true.
so Veda and Becca
No
are watching
sympathy.
the bad anime.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was nice, quick, and easy, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're watching this week, I need to pull it up on the computer. So there was a couple different things that have popped up on Netflix recently that I was
Oh,
like, oh
dear.
wow, those look
Uh-oh.
like pieces of
Oh
crap.
no. Oh no. Oh
I'm
no.
I know where this is going.
Oh, what did you
Um,
pick?
So the overall theme, I guess, is the better question right now. And there's a couple
Uh-huh.
different themes I'd kicked around because I really wanted people to watch Death Parade regardless of what else I picked.
Please let us watch it. I really want to see it.
Yes, so to make it easy, Leah and Liam will be watching Death Parade because everyone should watch
Yay!
Death Parade.
Ooh.
Death Parade is a 2015, so brand new on the market. Get on it while it's hot. And the premise in general is from Wikipedia. Whenever two people die on Earth at the same time, they are sent to one of many mysterious bars run by bartenders serving as arbiters. There they must participate in the death games with their lives on the line, the result of which reveals the secrets about them to their situation and also helps determine what their fate will be after the games. That's as much as I want to tell you because it kind of gave away a few of the clues to begin with.
Hmm.
I know both Veda and I have watched it already, and we both
It's so good.
give very positive reviews. So
Is he gonna, or, what about Death Billiards? The
okay,
one episode beforehand.
So Death Parade came about as a result of Death Billiards, which was just a short
Oh.
OVA. You don't necessarily need to have seen it to watch Death Parade, but if you
It's just
should,
the length of an episode, right?
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
20
20
minutes.
minutes.
I might
So-
as well just watch it.
I've seen Death Billiards, I haven't seen Death Parade.
Yeah, I
and
would
it's worth it, Liam.
say optional. Check out Death Billiards first, and then go check out Death Parade. But if you don't watch Death Billiards, that's perfectly fine too. Cause
You'll still understand everything perfectly fine.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's just extra credit and extra effort. So
Yep.
do what you want, Liam. You're an adult.
More gold stars.
Yeah, gold stars. Maybe you'll be the sweet prince, or no,
The darling boy.
the darling boy. That's it. All right. So then, myself and Veda, this comes back to me going on to Netflix.
Uh-huh.
There was this really great one called Glitter Oh my gosh, let
Glitter
me find it.
Force.
Glitter Force, which when I saw it, I was like, that looks like shit. We should watch that.
I know, I was
Fringing.
gonna make that one of the ones I picked.
Well, lucky for you, I saw something that looks even worse.
Oh god, was it the other one I saw the other day?
Maybe. The one we'll be watching is called The Irregular at Magic High School.
Oh,
no,
it's so
wasn't that
bad. Sorry.
It
one. Oh
has
god.
2 stars on Netflix, which
Oh,
makes
I've
me
seen
think
the
it's
first episode.
probably
Does
really
it
bad.
Really?
And brings
Oh,
it back to
God.
the theme of shows that look pretty.
Oh, shows that look pretty. Well,
Because
Death Parade is really pretty, though.
Death Parade is really pretty. And The Irregular at Magic High School looks like it's quite pretty as well. I don't
Dear
know.
God.
Maybe it's
If
not.
that's the one I think it is, have
think
fun.
so.
Stars.
Oh,
So, it's siblings Tatsuya
Yes, it
and
is.
Miyuki enroll at a magic high school where
Oh.
Miyuki's honor status comes between her and her underachieving older brother. It
Oh,
looks,
God.
like I said, 2 stars on Netflix. Maybe this is like shooting fish in a barrel, but it looks like something's what it looks like.
Great.
I'm sure we'll enjoy it. There's magic involved, so how can't we?
Huh.
I don't like the sound of that.
You'll know in like the first 10 minutes. You'll be like, oh, it's that kind of anime.
Oh god damn.
I really
It's
hope
not
it's a-
gonna be some stupid like
I'm not
incest
saying a
shit,
word.
is
I was
it?
just gonna
I'm
say,
not
is it
saying
incest?
a word.
'Cause
Please
I'm not
no.
saying anything. Just
really-
go watch it.
I hope
Please
there's some
let them
weird
not
sexual
fall in love.
tension to make
God damn
to
it.
garner. I mean, it doesn't have 1 star on Netflix, so maybe that's a good sign.
Sometimes Netflix gives shitty reviews and they're really good shows, and
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
If Naruto can get 5 stars,
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh
God.
What
has
does that
4
say for
stars,
Netflix?
and we all know how Yu-Gi-Oh is.
okay, but Yu-Gi-Oh is
amazing.
like
But Yu-Gi-Oh's
amazing as
popular too,
90s,
so-
early 2000s greatness.
Yeah, Gunslinger Girls has 4.5. Bleach has 4.5. I don't know. Like, maybe, what does Naruto Ship It In has 4 stars. Rurouni Kenshin has 5.
Good, because it's amazing.
It's not gonna tell me how much Oran High School Host Club has, but I'm going to
Probably
assume
has
it's a
5.
lot. So, I mean, maybe? Yeah, it does. Well, I gave it 5, so.
Oh, so fancy.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
find, like, examples of things that have been considered great that Netflix has marked shitty, but it's not happening.
Oh.
Maybe I'm just wrong.
I'm sure we'll enjoy it, Veda, in the
Oh.
best way possible.
As long as they don't make out, maybe.
But how horrible would it be if they actually do make out? Like by accident or something? But
Oh,
are
God, that's
they?
Oh,
Let me
don't
just
even.
accidentally make out with my
Let's
brother.
just no. Maybe they like do that stupid anime thing where they fall on top of each other.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want that. Remember
Oh,
that one
my
Mackenzie
favorite.
made us watch about the sister that likes all the porny video games?
Oh,
And then
Oh,
there's
shit.
the weird sexual tension with her brother, kind of.
yeah.
I don't know.
What was that
That
one
sounds
called?
like Mackenzie.
I can't
Well,
remember. I just remember her being
Started
like,
with an O.
look at all the games I have. Then she opens her closet and it's all like porny games.
Yeah, this rings a bell, but...
And I was like, life
Like
goals.
the dating sims.
Yes.
Yeah.
Notice me, senpai.
Anyways.
Well, anyway, before we bore the poor listeners to death,
Right.
I'm sure they're not
I guess
dead
that's
yet.
it.
Thanks for listening
Yeah,
to
if you're
episode
still
11.
Thank
Domo
you.
arigato,
Arigato.
Mr. Roboto.
No.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Bye bye.
Oyasumi.
Do.
Oyasumi.